Okay, guys, so it's a very common accusation these days that if you support Donald Trump and you support there being a wall that's very heavily guarded between America and Mexico, that you're automatically a racist because you're against people coming over here. Well, see, the thing is, we're not against people coming over here legally. If you want to go through the process of getting the proper documentation to come to the United States legally, that is perfectly fine by us. But what we are against is illegal immigration. But for some reason, people want to say that, oh, you're just a racist if you're against illegal immigration because not all illegal immigrants are criminals. Well, that's a lie because by the very definition, an illegal immigrant is a criminal because they just broke the law to get here. But, that's beyond the point. And also, illegal, that's not a race. You can't be racist against something that's not a race. But, let's move on. So, in many other countries around the world, in fact, probably most countries around the world, there are consequences for crossing the border illegally into that country. Some of those consequences are prison, some of them are very high fines. Deportation is definitely a consequence. But in some countries, the consequence is death. Basically, if you get caught crossing the border illegally, you get shot and killed on sight. But the United States isn't like that. The United States, if you cross the border illegally, you get free health care, free schooling for your children, food stamps, welfare, all of this free stuff that's actually paid for by the American taxpayer. And what does somebody who is here legally do? They get deductions on their paychecks. Kind of sucks. It's actually kind of backwards if you think about it. So if you come here illegally and you're not a legal citizen of this country, you get all this free stuff. But if you're here legally and you have a job and you work 40 hours a week, 40 plus hours a week, you get deductions on your paycheck to pay for these other people who are here illegally. It's kind of backwards. So again, I ask, why is it considered racist that we are against illegal immigration? Oh, well, you're just, you just hate Mexicans. You just think Mexicans are so evil because they're stealing your jobs and they're raping your women and blah, blah, blah. Well, okay. So maybe not all Mexicans are, stealing our jobs and raping our women, but there are a lot of Mexicans who are here illegally and they're taking advantage of the system. And so we're not against Mexicans as a whole, we're against people who are crossing the border illegally to take advantage of the system. And even people who aren't taking advantage of the system because, again, they're still here illegally. And if one of us broke the law, we would go to jail, possibly prison, be fined, etc., etc. But if these people break the law by coming into our country without proper documentation, they get all these rights in the world, and they're allowed to use their First Amendment rights, even though they're not American citizens, and they get to protest people like Donald Trump by waving the Mexican flag and the whatever other flags that they wave, some of those Middle Eastern flags. They protest an American by waving a non-American flag and saying that America is evil because they don't want us to come here illegally. It's kind of messed up, actually. And so, that's one of the problems that I have with a lot of people today is they're just so quick to assume that you're a racist. They pull out the race card so quick these days, and they don't even know what the word racism means. So what does racism mean? Well, it means that somebody from one race feels that they're better, or they belittle somebody from another race solely on the fact that they're of a different race or from a different origin. It doesn't mean that, oh, you're white, so you're racist. No. In fact, I actually had a debate with somebody who was, white like me, and the same general age as me, and she claimed that it was physically impossible for somebody who isn't white to be racist against white people. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. What are they teaching these people in school? It sounds like they're teaching them lies. Oh, well, according to this dictionary, well, okay, who wrote the dictionary? Who wrote that specific dictionary? Let's go there. Because if they're of a certain political agenda, well, maybe they'll write their definitions different than these people over here. But saying that only white people can be racist is the most ridiculous thing in the world. I have been criticized for being white by non-white people. I have been made fun of because I was white by non-white people. I would consider that to be racist against a white person, wouldn't you? I think it's racist in itself to say that only white people can be racist. That statement in itself is racist. But yet, people these days, they want to say that you're racist because you're against illegal immigration. You're against giving people who are here illegally, a third of your paycheck, or whatever, however much of your paycheck you actually give in taxes, not willingly, by the way. Probably like a tenth of your paycheck at the least. I don't know, but it's still not fair, because prior to 1913, when Woodrow Wilson passed the income taxes, all Americans kept 100% of their taxes, and yet we still had a military, roads, bridges, all these other things that are paid for by American taxpayers. We still had all those things, and we didn't have income taxes. So figure that one out. So anyway, I get kind of tired of the whole, you're racist because you're against illegal immigrants, and you want to build a wall to keep all these people out of our country unfairly. Well, again, I tell you to look at other countries and see what their consequences are for crossing the border illegally. Whether it's death, whether it's prison, whether it's being fined, whether it's being deported back to the country that you came from. There are consequences in almost every other country out there for illegally crossing the border. Why are there no consequences for illegally crossing the border into the United States? It doesn't make any sense. And again, people like me, we're not against people coming here legally and actually wanting to contribute to society. But when people want to cross the border because they want to get away from their government, and they want to take advantage of our government, and they want to protest our government and say that, whoa, we're so evil, by waving the Mexican flag or the whatever other flags that they wave. I don't even know. The only one I really know that I've seen them wave is the Mexican flag, but they're not waving the American flag. They're waving flags of other countries that they came from to come here to get a better life. But yet, we're evil. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, tell me what you think about that. That's all I have for this video. Subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm RedneckMini14, and until next time, be safe.